If the cell phone is all you got, that's all you got, and do your best with it. When my first camera, I think your first camera, an old VHS camcorder, and you didn't have much to work with on that, so you would just record what you could with what you had.
Brett Mauser and the cast and crew of Not So Sane Entertainment are attempting to make a movie with an impossibly low budget, and hopefully inspire you to do the same. Can they make a movie with just $2,500? It's a long shot.
The biggest critique I'm sure we're going to get from Longshot is talking about the gear that we use, and saying, "Oh, you can't shoot a movie for $2,500 with the gear you use. You can't get all that gear for $2,500." No, yeah, you can't. But we didn't start out with all this gear. We started out with VHS camcorders. I mean, you look at Joey and I. We've got photos of when we were growing up and we had never met. We were hundreds of miles apart. Didn't meet for a few decades later, and the photos of us with our VHS camcorder was practically the same. You shoot with what you can get your hands on.
A lot of people want to go out there and make stuff, and people are, and the ones that are just, it's cool. You're going out because we all have the cell phone that can do a lot of stuff. You can make all kinds of films with that. You just got to get out there and go do it.
Your cell phone has the ability to record video in much higher quality than we ever had, with something that was actually designed to film. Our old VHS camcorders don't even come close to what you can get on here. Sometimes you can shoot 4K slow-mo, and you have so many different options on a cell phone that you didn't have in a VHS camcorder.
Because you see like really low quality stuff, you see low quality products out there, but as long as it's entertaining, people are going to watch it. So it's not something that should stop you. Like, we need to have the best camera, because having the best camera isn't going to make you the best cinematographer.
Don't harp on the gear that we use. Focus on being able to get it done and to actually do the work, and just get out there and shoot something with whatever you have. So what we're today going to do is we're just going to kind of talk about the gear that we have and how you can simplify it or use something alternate. This is probably one of your least expensive tripods that you're going to get, but you got to have some place to put your camera. This one is our oldest one, and this is about to go the way of the dodo, which means I'm probably about to give it to Joey. Tripods you can get at Walmart for $25, $35. Just your cheap little tripod that's going to hold your camera steady. In other episodes, we talked about our Fat Gecko, which is for mounting on windows and flat surfaces. If you're getting an exterior of a car, this can stick right onto the car itself, or interiors like we used for Sierra Rabbit 7. Sticks onto the windows pretty well. You just push in and then lock it down with the clamp, and then you have a lot of mobility and a lot of positioning options with the stick here. You can spend $80 or $150 on a boom pole, some that have the wire and cable coming down through here, or hell, some of the just the regular tripod or regular boom pole without the cable going down through the tube. I've paid $85 for before, when you can go and get a monopod for $20, $30, and it's basically the same thing. It's just a stick that extends that you can screw your mic into. Which, moving on to our next thing, is our microphone. I don't even know what it is. I think it's a Rode.
Yeah, you got the Rode.
Did I have the Rode? Yeah, NTG1. Not the best in the Rode line, but it works. Then you have your Dead Cat, which helps cut down on your wind noise. Then basically, if you've got one of these boom poles with a microphone with the cable going through, you just plug the cable that's coming out the top into your boom mic, and then your XL cable that will go to your field recorder or your camera. When we first started working with boom back in the Innocent Saga days, it would plug directly into the XL1 or the XL2 in the back and record the audio in sync with the video. But unfortunately, that would tether the boom guy to the camera. But now we've got our field recorder that the XLR cable can be put into the field recorder and recorded directly on here. So now the boom operator is independent, and we have a little bag that clips onto the side, on the belt or the pants, and they're independent. They can wander around, go wherever they need to. Now in Serial Rabbit, we didn't use the boom mic a lot, and I don't use the boom mic a lot. That's not good. That's not advisable. If I could, I would always have a boom mic operator on set. But I'll tell you, that's one of the downsides to it, is basically 80% of the audio that we've gotten from boom mics is useless. But not because of the gear. The people that I've had to give that position to are just horrible at the job. I've had them pointing the microphone at the ceiling, or being 3 feet away, or being 12 feet away from the subject and not trying to get to get good audio. They just don't know how. You've got to get that microphone as close to the subject as possible, pointing towards the chest area. And just off camera. The further away the microphone is, the worse the sound is going to be. Even more so than you would think. You would think that if you have a microphone, let's say your volume is, your audio quality is at 10, and you've got the microphone 2 feet away, and it's perfect audio. It's exactly what you're looking for. You've got a perfect 10, and the distance between your subject and the microphone is 2 feet. And now you extended it to 4 feet. Now it's at 4 feet. You would think, okay, well, that you've doubled the distance, so you're going to have the quality. So instead of a 10, you're going to have a 5. Well, that's not the way science works. That's not the way the world works. Well, there's a great little thing called the inverse square law, and it works the same way for sound as it does for light. As you double the distance, you're decreasing the sound quality by 75%. So if I have the microphone at a distance of 2 feet, and it's giving me a sound quality of 10, and I move it and I double the distance, now it's 4 feet away. It's not, the sound quality is not a 5, it's a 2.5. So that's one of the reasons you want to get that microphone as close as possible, because the further you get the mic, the further away you get the mic, the worse the audio is going to be. And then especially when you've got your boom operator pointing the mic in the opposite direction, or hitting the ceiling.
Glad that was your ears.
Or not listening for the rattle of the cable, or the shock mount bouncing a little too much, and you're getting those clicks. It's horrible. And that's basically why we don't use the boom that much anymore, because it's pointless with some of the people we have to do, because we don't have a designated boom operator. Joey's too busy to be doing that, and when you just give it to an actor, they don't know what they're doing. Point at her like
the end of it.
Directional here. They don't know how to listen for the good sound. When we were shooting one of our Mono Maniac movies, we had 1 day of shooting. It was just a short film, and we had the boom mic plugged into the TASCAM, and it was on the guy's hip, and we recorded the whole day. And it was at the very last scene we were shooting. He's got the microphone down. He's like, I get a lot of wind noise on this. So I put the headphones on and listened, and I was like, wow, there's way too much wind noise for this to be coming from the boom mic. And we're moving the boom mic around, and it's not happening. So I tap the boom mic, and I don't hear anything. Like, what the hell? And I tap the TASCAM, and you can set on your TASCAM whether it's recording externally, which is the boom mic, or internally on these little microphones here. Well, he had it set the whole day to the interior microphones. So we never recorded anything from the boom. It was all recorded from his hip. So that's why the sound on that movie sucks so bad.
Has chosen you to compete for the grand prize. His prize position. A golden firearm that once belonged to the Asian dictator, Cold Fang man himself.
What we do use now a lot are our wireless mics. I really liked our Saramonics, which is great because we have our one receiver, which plugs into the camera, and then we have 2 transmitters. And as you can see, like our little lav here, I'm recording on a different microphone, but you'll hide the pack on the person's body and then run that cable up and try and do your best to hide the mic. So you've got good sound quality coming as close to you as you can. But the good thing is that those two transmitters transmit into one receiver. And the receiver then records into your camera or whatever you've got it plugged into on two separate channels, the left and the right. So if I'm recording two channels of audio, they're not getting mixed down. So if one transmitter gets a lot of static, I'm not screwing up and ruining that other channel of audio. There are some wireless mics that do not offer that. So that if I've got two transmitters that are going into one receiver, but the audio channels are mixed. So if there's static on one, you're going to get the recording of the static on the other channel. But you do have other little other little wireless mics like our Cinco. I don't like to bash stuff too much, but I do not like these. The audio to me is too tinny, and I get too much interference and I get too much static on these, and they break down too much. We've got what we our tour de force, which is what we record mostly on now, is our ZCAM E2 M4, I believe it is. 4K, shoots in ProRes RAW, but does not record to ProRes RAW on the camera. You've got to export it to our Atomos Ninja V, but basically you have your HDMI out, ProRes RAW, into the HDMI input of your Atomos, and then records to an SSD drive, which is basically just an external hard drive. And that I've fallen in love with ProRes. I think our first project we tested it on was our short film pickups, and we were just testing that to see how it looked, and then moved into Night Watchman with it. And being able to shoot RAW gives you so much versatility when you get into editing. And it allows you to shoot a little bit more because you can be a little bit more laxed on your color, on your brightness and your contrast and things like that, because you can fix them in post. You're really supposed to capture as good of an image as you possibly can when you're on set. But when you shoot like we do, and we don't have that time, we just get the image, make sure that it's not too hot, it's not too dark, and we'll fix it in post. And so we shot Night Watchman and Ola's Posse and Sierra Rabbit 7 in with the ZCAM. Before that, when we came back to film in 2015, we started using the Canon, one of the Canon Rebels, and that just shot HD, didn't shoot 4K. But that's probably been one of my favorite cameras since. They had EF lenses, and I was just really happy with the image quality that we got out of those. Had a beautiful depth of field, just had a very nice image. But we decided to upgrade to 4K with our Lumix G7s. This is not a full frame camera, it's a micro 4/3 camera, but it shot 4K. And we shot a lot of projects on these, starting, I'm going to say Blow a Kiss, for sake of argument, was the first time we used the G7s on a feature film. I'm sure we did some short films with these. But we've shot quite a few on these. Blow a Kiss, Sierra Rabbit 5, The Project, Tag Conspiracy. We even had a little joke in Sierra Rabbit 7 about these.
That's the camera you're going to use?
It worked for Sierra Rabbit 5. It will work for this.
They were great. We loved them. They worked great, and we still use them today. We use them on Sierra Rabbit 7, especially for the car stuff, because we didn't think that our Gecko mount would hold the ZCAM, especially with all the attachments that we had to have. So when we're doing the car scenes, we'll use these. It shoots 4K, and it's with enough color grading and color balancing and color correcting in post, you really don't notice too much, especially for the shorter scenes like that. And then we did use these to represent the influencers' streaming videos. Instead of using their phone camera, we would use these. You would have Melissa in our long shot when we were shooting the ZCAM, shoot it on her phone, but then we would have her also shoot from the G7, being able to flip out her monitor and see exactly what she was recording on the flip out monitor. And we wouldn't do any kind of grading on it. we wouldn't really do too much inside of Lumetri, inside of Premiere. So it just maintained that more video quality look to it. And if you just don't have the money, you've got a camera right here on your phone. Use that if you have to. When it comes to audio, there's really not much substitute. You're just going to record on your phone, whatever audio you can get. But that's how we did that. That's how we shot a lot of our Ponderous stuff. Before we got our boom mic, we just used the onboard microphone that was on the XL1 or the XL2, and you just got the best audio that you could and dealt with it. That's why we would shoot so close, and we would have sort of that fisheye look on a lot of our close-ups, because the camera was real close to the subject so that we could get good audio on them. But as we got the boom mic, we were able to get the camera further back, zoom in, and get our medium shots on a higher focal length, which gave it a much more cinematic look rather than the fisheye look. The last thing that's really important onto the movie set is going to be your light box or your light kit. We've got several different ones. We've bought some two-pack light kits, 3-pack light kits. This was a 2-pack light kit. They'll usually come with your light kit stand and a couple of lights. And this is probably my favorite light kit because it is so bright. They're pixels, but you put your 2 batteries on the back, and they're RGB, so you can control your light temperature in terms of just like whether you're shooting on 38K or 5600K, your basic light temperatures. But you can also go in the RGB, which is going to be your red light, blue light, pink light. You have complete control over what shade of light you want to throw onto your subject. You don't have to sit around waiting 10-15 minutes for them to cool down when you're done shooting. Our first light kits were these A80s that were just these giant spotlights with incandescent lights. And if they fell, if they dropped, you'd blow out the bulb, and each bulb was between $5 and $10, as opposed to some of those more expensive ones that you can spend $150 on your bulb. Light that I've started really falling in love with are tube lights, which are also RGB. You can change your red, green. They're going to have more. They're not going to be as customizable as some of your RGB LED lights. You just have certain lights to choose from. But I like these because I use, where was it? I had one. Yeah, I have these little magnets that I can screw into the light. Yeah, right there. And you're good to go. It's very portable, very useful. Even times put these in the shot as sort of wall decor, wall decorations and whatnot. Some people have made fun or talked about it in their online reviews or whatever. It looks like they just put the lights in. It's like, yeah, but go to some nightclubs, go to places. There are lights like that. That they have just the vertical thing. Some of the lights that we used in Night Watchman were actually ground lights that were supposed to be decoration, and that's what we used. So they exist. So the question is, well, I don't have $150, $200, $300 for lights. That's fine. Go to Walmart, go to the hardware section, and get those 500-watt halogen lights. You can get them for $10, $15, $20. Sometimes there are 2 big ones on a stand. They are bright. You don't have any control over how bright they are. They're just going to cast a whole bunch of light. Really, really bright. And it's going to be really, really harsh light. So you're going to get a lot of shadows. But if you have like a white sheet that you can put in front of it, you diffuse that light and it becomes soft light. Or turn the light around at a white wall and bounce that light off of the white wall, and now you've got soft light. We also have our reflectors. This is a cheap little $35, $40 reflector. And it's different tones. You can actually have just a white bounce sheet in there, which is basically just white. Again, for if you've got, say, that big 500-watt halogen light bulb, you can point the light away from the talent and then bounce it back with the reflector. We use it a lot for vehicle shots. If we're shooting a car, if you're looking inside the car, whoever's inside the car, you can barely see them because it's so dark. Because in order to properly expose the outside of the car, that means the inside is going to be really dark. So we take our reflector and we bounce the sunlight into the car. And if we bounce it into the car, it blinds your actors. But when you have somebody like Sergio, you don't care if you're blinding them or not. Same thing like if you're under a tree and the background is really bright, but under the tree you're in shadow. Use a bounce board or one of these reflectors to bounce the light from the sun to counteract the brightness in the back. Well, I don't want to spend 25, 30 bucks on that. That's fine. Go to Walmart, get a 30, I used to be able to say 35 cents, but they're not 35 cents anymore. They're more like a buck. But a 59, 60 cents dollar piece of white cardboard. Poster board that you find in the arts and crafts section or the school supply section. If you want the reflector style, spend the extra $1 or $2 on aluminum foil and wrap that sheet with the aluminum foil. Now you got even a brighter one. You've got basically that silver reflector. They're also great for fireside scenes. How many times have we done that? We've taken a light which has sort of an orangish glow to it, or used the gold reflector and held it up and wiggled it, and it gives a little bit of a wiggle, makes it look like fireside chat or candlelight. And of course, to make all that run, you're going to need batteries. We've got a good set of batteries. Most of them are the NPF 970s, and how long they're going to last depends on what you have it hooked up to. It's funny because our camera can go pretty much all day on one of our 970s, but we'll need 2 batteries a day for our Atomos recorder. And then our lights run off of that as well. Our gimbals have different batteries, but most of the stuff that we have either has built-in batteries, like our tube lights, or it requires the NPF 970s that we have a big little ammo we have a little ammo box that we keep all of our batteries in. And of course, in addition to our NPF 970s, we have a little pack of just your regular standard everyday use batteries, from AA's to AAA's to 9 volts, C's, D's. And those are good for especially your wireless mics. Our wireless mics, Saramonics, require AA's, so we go through those quite a bit. We've got some rechargeables. We had 8 rechargeable AA's and felt that wasn't enough, so we actually got another 8 or 10 rechargeable AA's, and those have been serving us well for several years. You can spend 25 bucks on a tripod, use your camera phone, which isn't going to cost you anything, and then there's not much you can do with audio, and then get some lights for about 10 or 15 bucks at Walmart with a sheet. At most, you're looking at another 25, 30 bucks. So you're looking at 50, 55 bucks, and you can get ready to get going shooting a movie. If that's all you got, that's all you got. But go out there and shoot it with that material. Again, you don't have to show it to anybody, but it gets you an idea of framing. It gets you an idea how to work with actors. It gets you an idea of how to light and the light scenes and get different effects and different feels from the way you utilize your light. And if you do that, you're going to pick up more tips, more tricks yourselves that you learn from experience and by doing, rather than sitting around and just talking about making a movie someday.